Mango After Hours podcast is only for general information, personal use, and entertainment purposes. We do not guarantee the accuracy or completeness of any statements made by guests. The views expressed by guests are their own and may not reflect those of the producers, sponsors, or the host. Nothing shared should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. Always consult qualified professionals before making decisions based on this content. Mention of specific brands or products does not imply endorsement. All trademarks are property of their respective owners. Now, sit the fuck down and enjoy the show.
All right, it's official. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 16 at Mango After Hours. Before we start, as always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, TrowMaster, the future of intelligent farming. There's no other controller in the world that can give you the value that TrowMaster HydroX, AquaX Pro, and the rest of the line brings you to your grow. I'd like to also thank Thinker LED. It is the best light in the industry, best LEDs. Spectrum tuning is the future. If you're not tuning, you're just not doing it right. Lastly, well, not lastly, Mango Tech Store for providing this beautiful venue to be able to have these podcasts. It's really nice backdrop, as you can see. And lastly, Mango Juice, Mango Nutrients. If you're not juicing, you're losing. Today, we have a special episode, and we're going to bring Jay Larkins from Driflower. What's up, Jay?
What up, boss? How you doing?
What's going on? So Mexico, huh?
Man, just back from Mexico. This is just the last leg in the trip home, so it was, perfect timing to get over here.
I got you. You're working your way north because I believe you still live in Oregon, right?
Yeah, in Ashland. Yep, headquartered in Ashland, still living in Ashland. Dreaming of Santa Barbara. Priced out still,
So you're working your way home. You went from sunny to rainy in Sacramento today, and I'm sure Oregon's going to be probably a little rainy itself.
And cold, rainy and cold. So I'm not super looking forward to it, but like we were talking about, MJ's around the corner, so Vegas, right? It's a couple weeks out, so that'll be good times.
Yep, we just shipped our couple containers. We just finished packing those up, and then we'll be heading over there for that shit show.
Damn, you're way ahead of me. I'm so under the gun right now to get it together for MJ. It's like, shit, a little bit bigger booth this year, and so now we've got to reconfigure what we were. It allows us the opportunity to showcase more of what we offer. So that's good. But it's more to do. More to haul, more to set up, more to take down. It's and that setup takedown there is it's not that fun.
You gotta hustle because they give you only so much amount of time.
That's right.
To put that shit together, and then and at the end you just gotta hope you paid for early delivery, so you can get out of there at a decent time instead of stay there till 4 o'clock in the morning.
We usually do.
I did that one year. Like, what do you mean early drop off? It's like. So we had to wait. We had to go to dinner, and then when we came back from dinner about 10 o'clock, they were just dropping off our crates to be able to pack them up. We were there till like almost 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially with the skeleton crew. We do it all ourselves, so we don't have 10, 20 guys. There's a handful of us setting up racks, setting up the pods, the hangers, loading them up, and all that. But it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun too. It is a lot of fun. It's the big boy still. It still is the one in the U.S. I think.
It is the most major show that there's around the world.
Yep.
It's the one that if you're going to go to a show, MJ Biz is probably the one to go. Even though I have my own opinion about MJ Biz that it's just gotten expensive over the years.
Yeah.
It's gotten super expensive. It's hard to track your ROI, but it's kind of one of those shows that if you don't show up that year, it's like, okay, is this guy going to make it? Because the industry's kind of, on there's not as decline, but it's consolidation.
Yeah.
Consolidation. So is these people going to be around? Why weren't they here? Are they hurting?
That's right.
Do I buy their product because maybe they're not going to be able to support me next year?
That's right.
So it's kind of like you got to show up to to show up in a way.
That's right, and be there, be available, right, and like, hey, we're on the up and up, and so.
And I've seen that over the years. You've quite developed, your product. You started from just a regular, like the J hanger, and then the racks, and then now you got all kinds of different styles and different systems.
We do, thank you. Yeah, we've got a lot. It's come quite a ways from just the hanger and the stick and the bracket, which is where it all starts, and that's still the foundation of it all. Mm-hmm. But now we just have so many different racks, and applications, from like hoist from the ceiling to these quick connect posts that we have that like clear the room out in seconds. And it's all stuff that I've wanted to develop the whole time, but there's so many irons in the fire. You know, it's been on my mind. I've got ideas. Like I know the game of harvesting, so I understand all the nuances and all the shit show aspects to it that make it just like no fun. You know, and like little, you know, the industry's always been, you know, the cannabis like hang drying is like, it's like whatever your buddy did, you saw that, and then you just like did a little better.
Right.
I mean, that's just how it is. Like there's never been a system. There's never been nothing. You got to rig it, you know.
And I would say that you're pretty much the standard now in the dry room.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
you're pretty much the standard, you know.
Yeah.
And not only just for shit. Now you have everything from the tent grower all the way down to the commercial hemp grower. You got these badass things that you come up with a forklift.
Yeah.
And you just stack them like Legos.
Dude, those are so efficient. They're you know what? When I was running my yoga studio and out of the weed game and just running a yoga studio and teaching full time for a minute because I was just, you know, kind of driven in a different lane, I started to imagine it and develop these systems, the ProPod especially. I developed that while I was in class, teaching, practicing, and I got out of class. I already had the hangers, and so I cut these little schedules up and I taped them, and I fucking made a couple that you could actually stack up. They were like, you know, baseball size, and filmed it. I got a video of it. It's pretty cool, but like to see it evolve to where, you know, people are using them, stacking them, and coming back and buying more. Like, dude, it's awesome. Like just to actualize a product that actually, you know, functions and is efficient, and when they come back for more and more, you know it's working.
It's proved.
It's
proved.
Done, dude. It's done. So
it's
exciting. You know, it really is. I feel blessed to have made it, you know, and to have figured it out. And still, again, I'm still working on stuff. I got a lot of irons in the fire that as soon as I can finalize these prototypes, anybody that's using our system, they're gonna have to add these pieces. They'll have no choice. Because it's gonna
like Trollmaster modular, and then you get to play with it.
You add to it, you know. It's like you can. It's not just like standalone exactly. You can keep. It's like we have a whole ecosystem. I call it, you know, of just different parts and pieces, and so it's, man. I got a bag full of goodies coming.
Pretty cool. Before we get more into Driflower, let's get a little preview of, you know, what Jay Larkins is. You know, where was he born? You know, what was your upbringing?
Yeah.
You know, can you let's start way back. You know, what kind of upbringing you had? Where were you born? How did you grow up?
So I'm an Army brat, born on Oahu at the military base.
Dope.
John
Hawaii.
Tripler, yeah, Hawaii, Oahu.
All right, South Shore.
1976, South Shore.
Sick.
Yep, local. As I say,
I can't
I lived there for a few years.
Brah.
Yeah, yep.
Hawaiian boo.
Yep.
All right.
So that was great. And then my dad was in the Army for about 10 years after I was born. So I lived in Germany and, you know, Virginia. My dad worked at the Pentagon for a while, and, you know, Louisiana and Kansas. Kind of moved all over. Every 6 months or a year, we'd move with him in the military. They just keep transferring you base to base. And so he retired when I was 10 into Valencia, California.
Okay.
And so I moved into the suburbs and, you know, kind of got grounded from all that moving around my whole life.
How was that moving from, because obviously we immigrated from Colombia to the U.S., and that was pretty tough for a family. You know, obviously we went from, you know, like, I guess call it a third world country, Colombia, to United States. I was young. I was like 10 years old. I wanted to move to the U.S. My sister was a little bit older than me, so she had a little bit more, you know, more friends, you know, like teenagers. So it was a little tough for her. You know, but I can't even imagine, you know, being a young kid and then kind of moving from place to place, because it seems like you get little friends and then boom, hey, see you later, I'm going here. It's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because you meet a lot of people, make a lot of connections. So that might come back to play a role later on in life. But how was that?
Yeah, you know, it made me very adaptable.
Okay.
Because you get used to moving, I suppose, and you're like, all right, well, now we're going to move somewhere else and just kind of adapt to that place. And so I loved it because, you know, moving around, I always had this vision of like, I want to be at the beach in California. I want to learn to surf. You know, I was into like surf magazines and, you know, all that.
You were born in Hawaii and Oahu anyway.
Right? So it was like, naturally.
What year did you move from Oahu?
How
old were you?
I was only 6 months, a year.
6 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
again, we were in and out. Yep.
So you didn't get to experience the Hawaiian kind of surfing
Not the full culture.
Okay,
No. But like, you know, from 0 to 10, while we were moving all around, we'd go to Santa Cruz and Capitola and vacation there like almost every summer. My family was there. So we would go to this little, we called it the Little House, right in Capitola on the cliff. And so I spent my summers mostly, even though we moved around a lot, we'd go to Capitola and Santa Cruz for the summer. I'd start boogie boarding when I was, 5 or 6, and then, when we moved to LA or, Valencia when I was 10, I had my parents dragging them out to Ventura, to the beach.
Okay.
Like, take me to the beach. And, I think the first time I surfed was probably in Manhattan Beach around 14 or something like that. Okay. Just living that life. But I was always attracted to the beach. I always wanted to be in the water, boogie boarding, surfing. Anytime we went to Santa Cruz, I was boogie boarding when I was a kid and just couldn't get enough of it. So when we moved to Valencia, just getting grounded and getting into a school and the local school and staying in the school for years and years. I lived there till I was 17 or almost 18. And so I had a big friend group there. And yeah, I was moving there, I was really straight-laced. I was a pretty good kid. I wasn't really getting into too much trouble. I think I started smoking weed around 15.
Okay,
right around
so
15.
that was your introduction into cannabis.
Yeah, the introduction was, military brat, mainstream school. I was always told that cannabis is marijuana. It's gonna make it's drugs. It's evil. You're going to jail, prison, all that. And it was just this whole thing. But you get to puberty of age, and you get into drinking or smoking, and you're curious, just experiment, and a lot of people do, pretty normal. But as soon as I smoked weed, it wasn't. I was like, this is great. This isn't what I thought at all. I didn't know it was going to be like this. It made me just contemplate. Really, I think for me, it just makes me kind of go in and reflect and think, and and if it's just a strong enough dab, it really brings me even somewhere farther than that, into the kingdom, where you're really in eternity, just kind of in that in the moment. But yeah, just getting into surfing in my early teens and getting into weed right around that time. I think my first bag was from my brother's girlfriend, who was selling, brickweed. It was like a quarter for $25. And it was great, It was I thought that the seeds, because it was mostly shake, I thought the seeds were the buds.
No.
Yes, because they're like, oh, well, there's smoking bud or shake, and I'm like, oh, it's all shake, but there's these little buds in there.
Oh, so you were smoking the Mexicali probably.
All day. So there wasn't kind bud. There wasn't indoor. We couldn't find that. And then what was that 80, 88, 89 right in there. You couldn't. There was no weed. There was no indoor. It was hardly any indoor.
Mexicans.
Yeah, it was all Mexican weed or Humboldt weed, which was fire, but you had to go to Humboldt to get it, or you had to know somebody. It wasn't around. It was, even brickweed came and went. It was it would dry up.
Yes.
And you couldn't get it. You'd be like, has Jimmy got any? Who do you know? And you'd end up driving an hour or some other town to go get an eighth or something, because that's all there was.
That's funny.
And you bought whatever there was. There was no. You weren't like, oh, let me see. It's too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
None of that.
What strain you got exactly?
None of that. There was no strain. There. You know what? There was no strain names. There wasn't. I think the first strain I remember was in my mind anyway was Master Kush. That one stands out to me around, for me anyway, because I wasn't really into growing at that time. But even that was in 2002, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think I ever heard of a strain, but we heard of a variety when we were young, which was they call it skunk.
Yep, skunk bud.
Skunk bud.
That's skunk bud. Yep, skunk weed.
It smelled like a fucking.
That's
skunk.
right, man.
It seemed like
yeah.
That weed back then was it smelled like fucking somebody ran the fucker over.
That's right. That's right.
It was dead in the middle of the road, and it's what is that? It's a skunk, and that's exactly what it smelled like.
If we were lucky enough to get that, that was rare, and that was $60 an eighth all day, $20 a gram, all day. The brickweed was $50, $60 an ounce, 15 an eighth, 25 a quarter, whatever. That was my introduction. That was smoking brickweed.
Surfing, California, Santa Barbara area.
Yeah.
You said?
Yeah. Well, Valencia, and then so I got into really hustling weed. As soon as I started smoking, I started selling.
And most people do, because
it's expensive. It's going to cost money. So you're like, hey, let's go in on a bag. That turns into fuck, I'm going to get my own bag and sell off half of it or 3/4 and smoke for free and make $10. That's
how everybody starts.
Well,
not everybody, but
I mean,
that's how most of the people that start selling weed is because they want to smoke it and they want to smoke for free.
That's right.
They don't want to cost you any money.
That's right. So I mean, if I didn't smoke weed, I never would have sold it. Why would I have anything to do with it? I don't know. I don't sell other shit I'm not involved with, really.
And then okay, so from that point, you started freaking out, buying weed so you can smoke for free.
Yep.
What's up, guys? It's Mango here, and we're in the center of the Mango Tech showroom. When you say Trollmaster, you think controllers. When you say Thinker LED, you think lighting. I'm here to tell you that Trollmaster and Thinker are a whole cultivation system. Today, we're going to touch on ICL 300s and the Aero fans. There is no better combination in the market. ICL 300s are an inner canopy light that you set inside the canopy, and no, they're not 300 watts like some people may think. They're still 120 watts, but the 300 comes because they shine in 300 degrees. The ICL 150, that's up and coming here shortly, shines at 150 degrees because of its reverse V or A-frame style fixture. The 120 that's coming out is just like all the other regular ICLs or under canopy lights in the market. The ICL 300 and the ICL 150 are 4-spectrum tunable channel lights. That means you can play with each spectrum up and down to figure out what your strain likes best. All right, behind me, you see a single tier and a double tier. On the single tier, we have the ICL 300s on some PVC stands and some Thinker LED stands that bring the inner canopy light into the canopy, so the whole canopy gets lit up adaxially and abaxially, not just like an under canopy light abaxially. All right, let's focus on the ICL 300 and the ICL 150. These are the Formula One, the Bugatti, the Ferrari of all inner canopy lights. Nothing comes even close to what these pair can do. Why? Because they're 4-channel spectrum tunable lights. You can tune your whites, your deep reds, your far reds, and your UV to a recipe that suits your plants. You guys remember at the beginning when I said that Trollmaster and Thinker LED are a cultivation system, not just a lighting and controller company. And this is exactly what I was talking about. The ICLs are now set on a unistrut rail system that you'll never have to waste any time putting and taking off any stands. The rail will also double as a mount for your new Trollmaster Aero fans to deliver freshly climate-controlled CO2-enriched air into your canopy. Nothing else comes close. Check it out. If you're interested in this system, hit the link below, www.mangotech.store. We got you. From A to Z, one-stop shop. Let's go. What got you more into selling bigger things?
Ambition.
Okay.
Ambition. I like that easy. I wouldn't say it was easy money, but if you could get weed, there was plenty of people to buy it. Like there wasn't competition like now. If you had weed, you just told your buddies, and like your buddies were buying it, and they're like, hey, my buddy needs some too, and like you know how that goes.
Yeah,
it just kind of
word of mouth.
Like,
word of mouth.
Yep.
I mean, there was no Instagram.
And so I think I started out buying ounces from my guy, and then in 10th grade when I was 17, right in there, going between 10th and 11th, my parents moved to Ventura from Valencia. Okay. And so now here we moved over to the beach. I don't have any friends. It's only an hour away, and I've got my own car. And so, I'm mobile. And so every weekend I was going back to Valencia to hang out. I'd go back there on like Friday and stay at a buddy's house. And because I really didn't have any friends, and I was kind of older, going into 11th grade, it's hard to make friends in a new school, new town, especially when I just came from an hour away of like all the friends, just the whole social
teenage years.
Yeah, where you got all totally. You got
really starting to make the connections.
Totally. And so
those are the friends that usually keep for life.
That's right. So in Ventura, I really don't have any friends for life in Ventura. I lived there from 16 until 25, another 7, 8, 9 years there. And I really didn't make any great long-term friends because I was hustling weed back in Valencia, and my brother was in Santa Barbara going to college, and so I was taking weed to him. I was taking weed to
older brother or younger brother?
Older brother, 3 years older.
Okay.
So he was in IV, and he was moving weed for me.
Okay.
All mostly brick weed, but when I moved to Ventura, I got a new connection. So it wasn't just the high school friends, the hippies, the older brother, whatever, my buddy. Now I moved to Ventura, and I met some guys on the beach there, like this dude that lived in his bus, and like right on the fair, right on the beach, and just full hippie dogs out the side and all that. And he got that good brick weed. It was a whole new connect. It was like a whole nother town, So it was so disconnected from anybody I knew. It was a whole completely other world. Like high school, an hour away, Nobody knows these people. Okay. And so, I'm in this other town. I get this new connection, and now I'm getting better weed, better price. It wasn't even brickweed. It was like Pretendica, like that Arizona bale weed. We
called them mids.
Mids, totally. It was mids.
It was mids. The original mids.
Yeah, it was mids. we originally called it Pretendica because it was like, it wasn't super pressed, but it wasn't no seeds. Okay. But it was still not like Humboldt.
The Mexicans learned how to clone.
Yep.
And instead of putting seeds in the fields, they started putting female clones out there, so they would have no weeds or seeds in semilla.
Yep. So I was hooking up. With this connect, I was hooking up like a couple pounds at a time. I got to that level where I was buying a pound, getting fronted a pound. I'd break it up into even eighths and quarters, still ounces,
making money.
QPs, just making money, just moving it, flipping it, trying to build that bankroll, and still in high school, and so my parents had no idea what I did. They didn't know. My dad was in the he court-martialed people. He was in Vietnam, dude. He was in intelligence, for 21 years.
I love this part when I interview people in like Sergio from the Connect Powerhouse. He had Spanish parents, and I'm telling him there's no way we're Spanish people, and then there's no way that they're cool with growing the weed, or smoking weed. And he looks at me here, he goes, no, my parents were super cool. They were super supportive. My dad actually was the one that showed me the first plant.
Oh, wow.
So it's interesting to see different.
Night and day.
Yeah, different. Yeah, because obviously, you're in the military, so your parents were very strict.
Oh, yeah.
My parents were Spanish and from Colombia, but they were so anti-drugs. Like, they were just, it was not cool.
Yeah, it wasn't cool for my parents either. It was not cool. I had to keep it super secret, super on the down low. They had no idea.
Did they ever find out?
They found out. They did find out eventually. When my, when my first wife was pregnant, they were like, "What are you gonna do? She's pregnant. You don't work." And I'm like,
"How old?"
I was 21.
Okay, so you obviously moved out of the house, or you?
Oh yeah. I was already out of the house. A couple years,
gotcha.
3 years out of the house, and they're like, "What are you doing for work?" I'm driving this long bed F-150, brand new. I'm like, "Oh, I'm selling snowboards, second snowboards from a guy that makes them. I'm doing construct, like just bullshit stuff. I'm working at the snowboard up the mountain at, Snow Summit. That's why I have a house there and a room down in San Diego. Actually, I don't even think they knew I had a room in San Diego. I had a little spot in Rincon up in Ventura in the beach. I had another room in, Snow Summit. I was just that was a little, that might have been a couple years beyond that. But in the beginning, when they found out, they found out she was pregnant, and I was like, I had to tell them what I did. They were just too worried. They're like, "What are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Dude, I have plenty of money." They didn't like that, and I obviously they weren't very happy about that. But what was I going to do? It's like I'm a big kid now.
21 years old.
I'm on my own. I'm just figuring it out. So, that didn't really come to a head until I went on the run and the feds came to their house and.
That if you want to cover that, let's cover that one.
Oh man, that's later in the story. Yeah, that's a little later, but that was when I was 25. I got set up by like my best friends, that I lived with, surfed with every day. My right hand guy, just my homies, that we.
The way it happens.
I
hate to say it. It is what it is.
Yeah, they were out we were like shipping to Ohio.
Okay.
And this is in like
interstate.
2002.
Okay.
At that point, this is like, after high school, I was just driving all over. So just in high school, I got the new Connect. I'm moving pounds to Valencia and all over. Then once I started getting traction, I was going to, Santa Cruz and getting, pounds up there of like high-end shit, the outdoor for like 4,000, 4,400. I ran that for, a couple years. And then I got turned on to a Canadian Connect when I lived in Ventura, when I was on my own out of the house, who was bringing me 2 boxes a week. Beasters. Before they were called boxes, before, and some people call them, the AAAs or Beasters or Canadian or, all that, but I was like, best of breed in the emerging market. I was getting like the high end. There was a lot of different grades of Canadian even then of those Beasters. A lot of different flavors. Yeah, there was a lot of flavors, but these guys had a couple higher end ones that I was getting at like 3,600 a pound, and then the lower ends were 34. They weren't way off, but it was like a box of each every week. That was a great phase. It was just crush mode.
I can only imagine, because those were the good times.
It was a
lot of these kids or people don't understand that the late 90s, early 2000s, it was a heyday. It was the heyday of cannabis.
It was
for slingers, for trappers.
It was so heyday. I used to have a collection of hockey bags because every time they'd deliver, it was hockey. It was always hockey bags,
Yes.
you know. And I haven't seen the hockey bags in years and years, but it was always like these big ass hockey bags. You put like, you know, 80 pack in, 60 or 80 in one fucking bag, you know. And I ran that for years until like probably 2 years. I ran Canadian until, you know, when I first was getting it, I only worked with a couple people that I'd move like, you know, 75 to 100 to this guy and then some to that guy, and then I'd move 10 packs at like, you know, 46 or 48 on a 10 pack and just crush it, you know, like make a G on every pound on like 10, like just killing it. But once at some point, a year or two in, year and a half in, everybody was getting it. And so now it's like, well, let me look through it and like, my buddy's got it for 2 points cheaper, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah,
you know, it got a
little bit harder.
It got harder. You know, the market, it got saturated, and you couldn't just move it. It was like, it was hard to move. You had to like bring the price down. You had to front it for longer. It took more time. It was, you know, it just kind of got out, and that was, yeah, I had my first exit and sold that business to my Connect and my outlet. I kind of like hooked them up for a big check, and so. You know, that was my first out. I was out for about 6 months. I was so bored. You know, I felt like I reached my goals, and I was like retired, and I was depressed. I didn't know what to do because all I wanted to do was, at that point, all I did was surf and smoke weed, and you know, just that's all I did, hustle. You know, but when I stopped hustling, I was just like lonely. You know, I just my first child was born, and I don't know, believe it or not, I didn't know what to do with myself, and so. You know, 6 months, a year later, I pulled some money out of the safe, and I'm like, let's get into the market had turned to like brickweed, just shipping brickweed back east. Like that's kind of where the market was, because it was less, it wasn't available out there.
Right.
You know, so it was easier.
Easier,
so,
and you know,
and you're making
good money.
way better money.
Yes,
you're doubling up. You're not just moving and making 2 points a pound. You're like, you know, I was getting bricks at like $330 and flipping them for $800.
Okay.
Like 200 at a time, double boxes, whatever.
Bulk.
Yep.
Bulk.
Sending out drivers. Just
yeah. Oh, that yes.
and that was before there was like really good vacuum sealers. So you'd be cellophane wrapping it like for days. You'd just be flipping it and hope it, you know, like just to kind of conceal the smell. And you know, I ran that for a minute, and that's actually when I got set up and went on the run. It was I don't know.
So something happened east, and then you said they came.
Yeah. My guys were like, yeah, send us more. I'm like, let's go. And then next thing you know, the guys are like, yeah, we got it. Send some more. Yeah, great. And then all of a sudden, those guys are like not answering the phone.
Oh shit.
I'm like, you know what? Something doesn't feel right here. And I got a call from like about a week later, because they were my buddies, so they didn't want to like, you know, they weren't trying to do me dirty. They just were in a tight spot.
Right.
And so they're like, well, we don't know. We met him at the beach. We don't know who this guy is. He just hooks us up, and we don't know his name. And well, finally they said, well, you know somebody who knows his name. And so they called a third party, and they're like, hey, what's his last name? And that was it. And he's like, they you know, they could only lie their way so much.
Right.
And so they called this third party. The guy called me. He's like, hey, bro, those guys just called me. They got out of jail, and they told me to let you know they set you up, and they're coming for you. So I was like, all right, well, thanks for the heads up. You know,
that was at least pretty cool that you got a heads up, because a lot of people don't get a heads up. At least if you have any money at the house or anything like that, at least you can go hide the shit.
And this was 5 days after everything was delivered or so. Okay. And so I'm like, you know, I get the call, and I'm basically like talking to my wife at the time. We have a year-old child, and she's pregnant with our second. And I'm like, dude, I just got implicated. I don't know, let's go. You know, I had a house in Costa Rica that I was like kind of halfway built. I'm like, let's drive to Costa Rica.
Okay.
And she's like, all right, let's go.
Costa Rica is a shady place for shady people.
That's right. That's right.
That's what we used to say.
Yeah, no,
in Florida.
That's right.
Everybody was on the run in Florida.
People. That's right.
Went to Costa Rica.
It's a sunny place for shady people, they say.
Yeah.
It's a sunny place for shady people. So anyway, I was heading back to my house to go get, you know, everything we could, and I lived up in Ojai at the time. I don't know if you know where that is, but it's like outside Ventura, you know, outside Santa Paula, whatever, northern LA area. It's in the country. There's like one road in, one road out kind of thing. It kind of goes through, but small highway. I'm like a mile from the house, and the neighbor calls, and they're like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but there's like multiple police cars and sheriff at your house, undercover cars. There's like 10 plus cars, guys walking under a fence, like a 5-acre property up there that I owned. And that was it. It was like, all right, well, thanks for the heads up. I'm not coming back. And I left with the clothes on my back.
And you owned that house?
I did. I did till then.
Okay.
That was my first. That was my first.
Confiscation.
Yep. It actually, my dad had helped me buy that house. I won't go too deep into those details, but he helped me buy the house, and they knew that it was really my house, and so after I left, they went after him. They're like, listen, if you don't give us the house, we're gonna indict you, and we're gonna make.
That's what they do.
They knew the ins and outs of the whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
And so they're like, he couldn't fight it. He could have fought it and won, and yet they knew he didn't have the money to fight it.
Yeah.
He didn't have the money. He was too
I hate to say it, but those fuckers are dirtier than we ever were. I mean, they know what they can do to intimidate people and get you to fucking turn state's evidence per se. You know, I've seen a lot of people fucking fold.
You know,
and
yeah.
you know, and they had no skin in the game, so you can't really blame them for it. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame them for it. You know what I mean? At all.
Yeah.
They had no part of this. Why should I be fucking punished for something like this?
Yep.
So I can understand that.
Yep. So they ran him through the ringer, and that gave him his first taste because he was in military intelligence. He court-martialed people for this shit in Vietnam. And so, but to see them like kind of go after him and slander him and tell the neighbors, oh, he's a drug dealer and all this, it blew his mind to realize that like, wow, cops lie, and they said I'm a drug dealer, and they said all this shit.
Cops
he
lie,
couldn't believe it.
no.
He had so much integrity, he just couldn't believe it because he wasn't that character.
Right.
You know, he never dealt with people like that. He just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And so moving forward from there, you know, I switched cars with them before I went to Mexico, so I wasn't in my own car. Took his car to Mexico, and we were going to Costa Rica, and I couldn't take his car across the ferry from Cabo to the mainland. And so I got down there, and I was stuck. And I couldn't go. So she was 5 months pregnant.
That's why you said you stayed in
That's
Cabo
why I was in Cabo for a year.
yes.
Because
okay, I got you.
I got stuck there, and so we got an apartment right on the beach in Cabo. Did the home birth. Midwife flew down. Yeah, I caught the baby as my second. We did. Yeah, I've done home births with all my kids, and so yeah, did the home birth down there. Midwife flew down. It was great. And then after living there for about a year, not even a year. I mean, I had no work there. My Canadian guys that I had credit with just built up from just moving so much product for them. They were bringing me like a few grand every couple weeks or every month. They'd fly down and just, here's another $5,000 or whatever just to like get me by. But I was still skimping by pretty, I was not living well. I was not, we had an apartment. I was surfing every day. I could see the beach. It was great, but I didn't really have any money.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't know what I was going to do because they seized my house. They took all, and I had warrants out. My buddy and then once these guys rolled on me, the drivers rolled, and then everybody rolled, and like all these people fucking went down. My buddy did 6 years on that one. And if I would have gone back then, I would have done 6 years too, or 8. It would have been like that.
Fuck. Okay. It
was tough times.
During all this time, did you ever? I know because we're all hustled. Did you have any jobs? Did you ever hold that jobs down, or no, not really?
Nah, I worked at a paintball field when I was 14. I got into paintball.
Okay.
And I got deep into it right away. I did work at the paintball field. That's where I first kind of started selling the weed because it was like right at like 14, 15, 16. I got into weed, started selling it to some of the guys there. And I worked there on the weekends just so I could play. Okay. And then I did a lot of paintball. I was like one of the youngest pro players at that time. California Bushwhackers. Let's go. Whack. Yeah.
The two fucking.
Yeah. They didn't have the double trigger then.
Oh, they didn't have the double trigger?
Not yet. Not that. I was using like an autococker.
Kids nowadays are so freaking fast.
Automag. Yeah, it's crazy now.
Crazy.
But and we weren't playing like the speedball where it's like all blown up inflatable barriers. Right. We were playing kind of more in the woods. It's more like capture the flag, but it was still like pro level. Mm-hmm. And I did that for a while, and had more contacts from playing than doing that too.
When you went to Cabo, did you have a job, or you couldn't get a job?
No, I just wasn't. I wasn't interested.
Okay. I
wanted to go surf and hang out, smoke weed. Like I didn't want to work anyway. Like that was never my thing, dude. You know what I mean? Like I only did the paintball because I wanted to work, be at the field every weekend. And I was a kid. I didn't have any money. Right. Once I made money in the weed game, and I owned a house and was dealing in like, hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars going through my hands all the time. Like I just didn't have it in me. I was too ambitious.
Okay.
I was just like, shit, I need to get back on the horse because I understood the game well enough. And by the time I was in Mexico, I had developed such incredible contacts like, you know.
How long were you in? You said a year.
Maybe it was 8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like January 2002, and I came back before Thanksgiving, because I came back across the border because I just couldn't. I couldn't keep living on handouts.
Right.
I couldn't live down there. You know,
Wow.
you just can't live down there forever. You know, I think it was at that time anyway, 6 months. You're not supposed to be in the country more than 6 months at a time. You got to leave for a couple days or whatever. So we came back up across the border, even though there was no record, because when you drive across the border, they don't know how long you're in the country or when you came or any of that shit. But anyway,
I don't think they check passports too, because I've been
not coming in,
not
driving through. They don't care what you can bring, whatever you want in the country. They'll take it all.
Unless they kind of pull you over and they ask for information.
Yep.
So you had really no worries that if, hey, they're going to catch me at the border because I'm going to get my passport because it might be still a warrant or something.
Oh, I was worried about the border because if they would have run the passport, I would have been. I mean, coming out or going back into the States, I was worried. Leaving, they don't care who's leaving.
But coming back, after the 6 months that you said you were bored.
Oh, I was
worried. There was a slight risk that they could check you, and then you could see
huge risk, dude. Like you walk through now, they're going to scan your face. You're gonna facial recognition for sure. But even then, when we came back through, I had a guy drive the car across that I met there. And I walked across with my wife and the 2 kids. You know, the 6 month baby, 6 month old, and a 2-year-old.
Okay.
I had a fat stash, short hair. We looked like we were living in San Diego. So I just flashed my passports, and they just waved us by. Shit. It's like an hour-long line. It was mostly Mexicans in line. And so when there's this one white guy, clean cut, 23 years old, 25, just like,
let him
go, come on through. Okay. You know, I was like, whew.
Interesting.
Scary, you know. And what's so funny is after that, once I came back, I went there a couple times on vacation while I was on the run, because I came up again on the run and was like, oh, I went back and bought property in Mexico, because the weed game was still hot. You know, there was still tons of money to be made, right? I mean, I came back across the border, brickweed had started to wane, and now everybody wanted bales out of Tucson, like that fluffy. You know, those 15, 20, 25-pound bales instead of the kilo bricks out of Tijuana. And so moved my guys, my amigos, the Connect, dude, they had a cousin in Tucson that had bales. And they're like, we got a cousin. So I went up to Tucson. They set me up with a house over there and started moving bales. You know, and just locally I was brokering bales. A guy that I met that was on the run got me an ID, like a legit ID that I could use, because he was on the run. He got me an ID through the the DMV. So that was tight, and that could be run. You know, you could run that ID, and it was a legit ID. It'd be clear, unless that guy had a warrant because it was somebody else's info. So you run that too.
You're hoping that guy was a square boy.
You know, but
my God.
You know, for a couple grand for the ID, it was peace of mind. It was huge peace of mind. It's my face on an ID. I can get pulled over, and I got pulled over with it.
Okay.
So
whatever happened with the original case? How did that fade away? Was it statute of limitations?
No, because it's a conspiracy case. So the statute of limitations never ran out. I ran until 2000. I turned myself in beginning of 2012.
Yeah.
So 10 years on the run, and I was hustling the whole time, just going bigger and bigger. I got into growing, halfway in. But at some point in 2012, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I had a bunch of drama going on in my personal life, and I was like, I got to get this. I can't do this. At that point, I had 4 kids with my ex-wife, and it was just, we're fugitives. You know, you can't really build a life.
Yeah, fugitive.
You can't build a life. I mean, because it's always hanging on. You know, it's always over your head. You can't go use a Social Security. You can't buy a house. You can if you completely assume a whole new, but I'm just hustling the whole time. So it wasn't like I got into contracting. It was like building houses or something. I was just moving bales, and then I was growing weed, and I was growing more weed, and then I was doing, depots. And when I turned myself in, I was managing a huge property that I had a guy, partner with me and buy. It was like a 300-acre farm. We did, we were doing like a 100-foot greenhouse, a fucking depot, interior depot that I built. And this is in 2010. 11 that I built that, and running like a 36 light or 24 light indoor on that property, which at the time that's big. That's big. 24 lighter, dude, plus a greenhouse doing like 100-foot, 34 by 100-foot, 10-foot sidewall greenhouse pulling internal depth, dude. I was pulling 150 to 175 pounds out of there. So it was big, and those were $3,000 pounds all day.
Oh yes.
3,500.
Oh yes, at that time
it was huge money. So bunch of personal drama. And during the personal drama, I kind of ran away from everything and went to teacher training to be a Bikram yoga teacher. It's total sidebar, but like when I was on the run, I got into Bikram yoga, which is like the 90-minute hot yoga.
I've been mispronouncing that shit all the time. Burkham. I've been
Bikram.
pronouncing Burkham.
He doesn't even care if you ask him. He's like, how do you say your name? Bikram. I don't give a fuck. He says he doesn't care.
Yeah, Burkham yoga. I know you're a yogi.
Yeah, that practice changed my life. I was on the run. I didn't really exercise or work out, but I got into that practice, and I loved it. I loved it right away, and it was so hard. Right when I got in, I hated it and I loved it at the same time because it made me feel so good. I felt like this natural, just a natural affinity towards it. It just bit me. Next thing I know, the teachers are like, Jay, you should have you ever competed in yoga? I'm like, what? Competed? What are you talking about? And next thing you know, I'm like on stage doing pageant yoga stuff, and competing and I had all this drama go down. So I ran off to teacher training to be a teacher. And it was at the training that I decided I'm going to turn myself in after this training. I'm done running.
That was the fucking camel that.
That was it. Yeah, it was like I can't run anymore. It's been 10 years. It's my family's. I can't have a life. I got a bunch of money stacked, and I'm like, I have a property that's not in my name. I got medical cards that aren't in my name. I'm just like, hanging on by a thread. Even though I'm crushing it, I'm not in a great place.
You want to get it over and done with, past your fucking move on.
Yep. So turned myself in, flew back to Ohio. I got Bikram's attorney at graduation. I told Bikram, I said, boss, I need your attorney's number. At some point in training, he's like, I have the best attorney in the whole LA. He's just like, so pompous, but got his attorney's number, called him. He had a buddy in Ohio that was an attorney. I called that guy, and that guy happened to represent my friend in the original case. No. So he already knew the whole case. He knew it all.
Okay.
So he's like, oh, yeah, I represented your buddy. He's all gone. I can represent you now. He says, now you're lucky because there's a new judge.
Okay.
And she used to babysit for me. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, I knew it. I'm like, this is so good.
Perfect timing. 10 years was the day.
I know. It's like if I would have done anything differently, it would not have worked out so well. You know. So turned myself in. Just breezed through that, did a couple months, copped a deal finally after like a year of like waiting to go to trial. Right. They finally were like, 8 years and 6 years, okay, 5 years, and we'll give you 3 years. And I'm like, finally they said, we'll give you 6 months in county. And my lawyer's like, dude, I want to get their witness on the stand so bad because this guy's so full of shit. But if you lose, you're going to do 8 years. He's like, you got to take this deal.
You got to take the deal.
Just plead guilty.
Yeah.
You trafficked, one plea, one charge. Do 6 months in county. You'll do 2 months in the kitchen. It's like 3 to 1 if you work in the kitchen. So I did like 63 days, after running 10 years, and it was behind me.
Fuck. Man.
And I was on probation. I had my license suspended, all that. After a year being out, the judge was like, you're off probation. Your license is not suspended. You just go live, dude. You're fine. Like, she was so cool. Like, it was so blessed.
These are the fucking coolest stories that I love to get. People get this, they don't understand. These kids nowadays, it's such a different world, but the shit that you went through 10 fucking years on the run, fake IDs,
getting raped.
Still hustling.
Dude, when I was on the run growing in Mendocino in like 2008, I got raided by a task force. Like October 20th, like almost everything was down. I already moved a couple 100 pounds. I had another, a full tent of OG hanging. All the sours still in the field, still had like a couple weeks, and got raided by like this Fed task force, dude. A bunch of black and white plain cars, fucking ran into the bushes, and everybody else, all the trimmers fucking ran, and I luckily, skated out of that one. That was just another. Dude, that was hairy. If they would have got me then, I would have been done. I wouldn't have been able to turn myself in and fight it the way I did.
No, stacked.
So once I got it behind me, of course, I moved back to Oregon and got back into growing because I was like, I had to keep growing. I wasn't gonna. That's all I knew.
Right.
That's all I knew was hustling and growing. Like I don't know what else to do for work, even though. I was teaching Bikram because that was part of my probation. It was like, you have to have a job. So, okay, well, I'm going to teach Bikram. Even though I didn't make any money, I had a bunch of money already saved. So I didn't really have to work, but I had to work to just work.
To suffice the probation officer.
Yeah, so it's like back to your question before, I don't want a job. Like I was teaching yoga because I liked the yoga.
Right.
And I had to do something. So it worked out great for me that I could teach yoga and do that and get back into growing with somebody else's card, you know. And then soon I got my own card. As soon as I got off probation, it was like, let's go.
Okay.
You know.
What year was this?
Let's see. I turned myself in 2012. I was done with everything out of jail back by 2014. And then I was back to, I moved from Corvallis down to Ashland in 2015 and had a medical grow and out in Trail, like Tiller area, which is, you know, up in Medford area. Then I had a rec grow, yep, or all Southern Oregon, yep.
Southern Oregon,
yep. Then I got into a rec grow and like, you know, right there in Medford area from like 2016, 17. And it was just same shit, you know, just growing, moving, you know, brokering, just, you know, but not running anymore. And so I felt like $1 million, you know, and the laws were changing, prices were coming down, but it was getting way more legit. You know, when I was running the greenhouse and the indoor in 2010, 11, it was still pretty dicey, especially being on the run. You know, I was like, if they came or showed up, I'm like, I'm in big trouble. I'm not going to be able to talk my way out of it.
What's up, guys? I'd like to take this time to thank our current sponsors. First and foremost, I would like to thank Trollmaster. Trollmaster is the king of automation. Nothing else like it in the world. It really is the future of intelligent farming. Also would like to thank LED, the king of spectrum tuning. High tech, high yields. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Mango Juice. If you ain't juicing, you're losing. What year did Oregon legalize? Was it 16?
For rec,
I think it was Colorado first.
Yeah, I think it was 16.
14-ish, 15-ish.
It might have been 15.
15, and then Oregon and Washington were next.
Yeah, but Oregon was running medical for years. I mean, it was like we grew 6 plants under 6 lights for like, that was like the formula, you know, because you could only have 4. You could have your own card, and you could caretake for like 3 other people. So you could have 4 cards, and you could do 6 plants per card. So you only do 24 plants. You had to do these big, you know, pound and a half plants to like, you know, to skirt through that loophole.
Right.
You know, like trying to maximize every angle. You know,
I'm sure that's why you went for, because you said you were in Humboldt first, and then you went over to, you know, across the border to Oregon.
Yeah, well,
more protection.
I was living, so I went from Tucson in 2003, 4. That's when I went to Mendocino and was growing, and then I moved to Corvallis in 2005.
Where's Corvallis?
Corvallis is
it's California?
No, it's Oregon. It's like it's between Portland and it's kind of right in the middle of the state. It's a real sleepy town. Okay. It's like Hewlett Packard and OSU are in there, and that's all that happens there. So great place to blend in and be on the run. From like 2004 to 2012, I was there, just living, you know, kids in Waldorf school, just keeping it low and like growing and hustling and you know, doing well. But yeah, what was I saying?
So at what time in the life did you start thinking about dry racks? Because obviously you're an experienced grower, you're a legacy grower.
Yeah.
You know, been on the run, fucking great classic stories. At what point in time did you say, "Fuck, I'm gonna design a dry system"?
It started with an indoor grow I had in Corvallis in 2009 or 8 or 9, right there. I had a partner. We got an indoor going. I had separate from the other one I was doing later where I lived. I had the first one was like a 16 lighter, and we were using plastic hangers, and we were taking plastic hangers up into this attic upstairs. And the attic was and this is like the birth of the system, okay? Because up to that point, we used a lot of baling wire. Like everybody used baling wire. Like so many people. Nets weren't even a thing. They didn't exist. They weren't part of it yet. The trellis, like the cage, a metal cage, people were doing that, but not like the flimsy net. That they weren't even using that over their plants yet. They were still using like twisty twine and shit. So anyway, we were taking hangers up to this attic and hanging it across this wire that was like in this like, you know, like this 20-foot attic. It only had a 6-foot peak down to like a 4-foot sidewall.
Okay.
And so the wires were at 4 feet. And so there was wire to wire side, you know, all the way the whole, you know, 20 feet back. So you had to go under the wires and then hang the hanger on a wire at the very back.
And then work your way out.
And then work your way out.
And then duck.
And then duck. You're doing a CrossFit workout just to get to the in and out every time. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. So one day, I've got the wires undone. I'm sweeping, cleaning. And I put the broom. I realized the broom itself is the width of the closet. And it could rest on the 2x4 runners on the wall that the wires were screwed into. And so when I put the stick up there, I realized, fuck, I could put the hanger on here now. And when I take the stick off, when I take the broom off, I can walk past it, and I don't have to squat anymore. And so just that, like, that red light, that bell going off of like, wow, if I put a stick here and put the hangers on it, then I can back up and put another stick there, and I can make it so it's not fixed.
Right.
And so that was truly the system of like, wow, I don't want to crab walk under this shit. The baling wire sucks. And so now I started using 1x2 wood sticks, and I put them on edge, rested it across, and then I put plastic hangers on it that I would carry up from the grow. I'd cut them and hang them at the grow. You know, these big, 1.5 pound dry plants, they'd be the fucking 10 or 15 hangers per plant. So we'd cut them, fill the hangers, carry the hangers through the yard, up the stairs, and whatever. And so that was the beginning of understanding what a shit show drying is with baling wire and any other system. Like, it's just, this is all these nuances.
And the reason why people use wire instead of string, because the string would drip down, and then all the hangers would slide down to the center. The baling wire at least
a little tighter, had a little more tension.
A little
so
tension to it. It wouldn't dip, and then you could space the hangers.
It would stay spaced. Otherwise, you come in there all slid together. The fan's blowing, and the lighter it gets, the more it comes together.
Exactly. Yes.
And so the next year when I did my first Mendo outdoor crop, I got two, like 10 by 20 foot portable garages, just the car covers, put them in a row, and I did 3, fence posts on each side, and I did 3 levels of sticks and hangers. So I put finished nails along the sides, so I could put 1x2 wooden sticks from side to side, and then put the hangers on there, back my way out. And I bought I fit like 1,000 plastic hangers in there at a time.
And I think your racks now simulate pretty much that 1x2.
They do. It's the same size. It's a 1x2 stick. And so I tried a bunch of sizes, and what I found was that 1x2 is like the size.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah, it's not too hot. It's not too thick, not too heavy, not too light. Yep. It'll hold the weight. And so that was really the beginning of like just understanding efficiency. Like, how do we do this different to make it more fun and less headache? And from there, it was like the next piece was the hanger. And my partner, one of my good friends,
J hangers.
The J hanger, yeah.
J hangers.
So my partner Reggie and I, we actually made the first prototype from just more like a pant hanger. Pant hanger kind of has that open side if you're going to hang your pants on it.
Yes.
And we kind of copied that design.
Okay.
And it wasn't bad. It was a good start. And then we kind of had a falling out. Everything kind of died out for a while, and then I reapproached the system when I was teaching yoga. I'm like, dude, I'm going broke right now teaching. This is 2018, 19. I'm teaching yoga full time. I own a Bikram yoga studio. I had gotten out of the game completely to open this yoga studio and just full servant, right? Just serving. That's all I did was just teach and serve and like practice. Because I was just kind of over the weekend. Serving people health, serving people health and like doing hooking the community up with like, positive service, really. I was going into debt, so it wasn't like benefiting me.
Okay.
But it was at that time that I was like, I need to get back to this system. And I started to, in class while I'm practicing and teaching, I started to have these downloads of like, what could it look like? What could this hanger look like? Because the problem with a plastic hanger and hangers, you got to pull the weed out of the center, right? If you feed it in, you got to pull it out, and it's kind of a hassle. Anybody that has ever used a hanger, they're all thinking the same thing. If you could just break it and slide it off the end. Like, everybody thinks that. Like, you can't not think it when you're unloading it.
Yes.
It's a natural,
it's a pain in the ass every time you try to put the little
the fucking stem or branch.
Dude,
it
breaks, the weed falls down.
Yeah, that's right.
Snaps, yes.
So I started prototyping the J hanger with the open end.
Okay.
And that was it, man. Once I got that and the stick size and it just started, I just started moving them. The first year I think I sold like 30 grand to one guy, 2 people. He bought like a couple hundred hangers, and then he came back in like a week and bought another couple hundred, and then came back another 300. I'm like, dude, this is like my first guy. He's come back like 3 times. This is awesome.
This is working.
And that was still kind of R&D stage. That was when I still was, the J hanger still had a round head. My Pro hanger that slides on the stick was locking on, and at that point over Christmas, I was like, you know what? I was talking to my buddy, and it was like, it's time to make the J hanger the locking head. It just, my first partner and I talked about it. I never did it because I didn't have the stick size yet. I didn't really know what to get to where I am now. It's all so simple now. But like to get here and to fucking figure this stuff out, it was not simple,
2020,
dude.
everything.
It wasn't simple at all. It was so much R&D and testing, and like this doesn't work. Well, that was a waste of money trying that. That was bullshit. And just like jumping all these hoops and figuring it out. And yeah, man, once I got that next season came around and just crushed it, dude. We did, like 300K that second year, and it was more returns, more coming back for more.
And at the same time, the industry's getting bigger.
Exactly.
The grows are getting bigger.
Oh.
They're getting more professional.
Yep.
And then people, they don't want the fucking regular hangers and shit. They want something that's more professional.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
They're just tired of doing it, rigging it. And it's not wrong. Like I like to say, it's not wrong. You want to rig it?
I love when you say
it's not wrong.
That is your saying.
But
he ain't wrong or that ain't wrong. I love it. Yeah.
It's not wrong. It's not. But there's a better way sometimes.
100%.
So it's like we all use net. We all did trellis. We all did baling wire. We all did plastic hangers. You just do it because that's what you do with what you have. Mm-hmm. But I always felt like there's got to be something that I want to make something that overcomes all the nuances. Mm-hmm. Because every system that's rigged, every system that's made, there's limitations with it. There's little things that you're like, oh, this one thing, if it was like that, it'd be easier, better. And so I really tried to work backwards from what are the problems that we're running into hanging weed? Like, what are the problems with it sitting in a bin for 4 hours while it's it's sweating and the weed's flattening? Like, that's a problem. So how do we not put it in a bin for 4 hours, right? How do we hang it before we have to take it 2 hours away?
Yeah, because your system is pretty adaptable. That you can even, I've seen your videos where, it's pretty much, it could be a grow room, but it's a truck. You know what I'm saying? Because these people are harvesting, thousands of acres or hundreds of acres of hemp, and you just like you said, it's a product that's wet. You can't just stack it and put it into a truck. It's gonna kill it.
It has problems, right?
It has problems. Right. It's gonna develop problems. It's gonna get squished. So I'm sure that you figured out. If I can do it into a grow room, I can put it into this cube truck and keep it in there, keep it pristine, drive it somewhere, and then it's got to be an easy way to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? Efficiently.
That's right.
Give it to the guys, or one person can carry it, or two people carry it, and then bring it into its home, its dry room.
It lessens the touch points so much, especially outdoor. Like there's no, you can have your whole team actually cutting and hanging in the field instead of half your guys going back and forth with material. Right. Just taking it back and forth because you got to carry it in totes. Like, two guys can carry 10 totes worth together. Just pick up a stick full of weed, carry it, and hang it, and it's on its way. It has like a nice streamlined SOP where you're not.
And cleaner. I hate when people cut the plants and put them into a tote.
Oh, dude! If it's in there for any amount of time, if it's warm, like if it's 25 degrees outside, you'd probably be fine. Yeah. Frozen weed in a tote for 2 hours, it doesn't matter. But usually when you pack it, it starts to heat up. It starts to compost. It literally starts sweating.
As soon as you cut that stem, the thing's dying.
It's dying.
You can get limp, and then if you sit and stop, it's just going to start squishing, getting soft.
And it doesn't.
It was hard, and now it becomes.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
And you don't want it to squish.
You don't want it to squish. So if you can do it, if you can keep it cold, all the better. But if you can get it cut and hung, you can leave it for an hour or two. It's already drying. It's already pristine. It's already good. So from there, how do we get it to the dry space? Is it just walking down the hall? Is it upstairs? Is it 2 hours away? Do we need a semi? Do we need a box truck? Mm-hmm. So we really adapt to any scenario, whether you're, like you said, you got a tent, I got a tent kit. If you're doing 20 acres, I'll figure that out too. We've got systems for every single application so that it streamlines the process.
I like seeing your big hemp racks for the big acres where they come with the forklift. And then they're stackable.
Dude,
they're stackable. Before you know it, I've seen some of these rooms are like huge, 30, 40-foot ceilings, and you're stacking these things.
That's right. Those are the most efficient by far because with that system, and again, it's for acres. That system's if you're doing like 5,000 dry pounds at a time is kind of the minimum you want with that. Otherwise there's something easier. Because with this you need a forklift, you got to have space. You need there's a lot of considerations when you're working at that scale. You need a lot more movement of space required just to get the forklift in and out and all that stuff. But the beauty of those is you can have 99 people hanging weed in the field, cutting, all part of the cut and hang right on site, and then one guy forklifts it on a truck. Another guy's at the facility. When 6 pods get back, one guy unforks them and stacks them up. There's nobody at the facility. Right, everybody's hanging weed. There is nobody taking shit back and forth. It's like so when you really grasp the efficiency of the different systems, I mean, it's like 50% or more on labor. Like that's what customers say. Like this 50%, 70%. Like it cuts half the labor, half the time. So if it usually took 10 guys 2 days, it takes 5 guys half a day.
Right.
So, you know, you go from
efficiency. Obviously, just like you said, you know, labor is our biggest cost.
It is.
And I've heard you say a little bit earlier what I always say, you know, touch points, you know, just like when you're bagging weed, you know what I'm saying? Every time that somebody touches the bag, puts the weed, one sticker, that's a touch point. Another sticker, that's another touch point. You got to eliminate touch points because they add up. They add up. They cost money. And the same thing with your thing, you know, you want to cut the plant, put it in the J hanger, hang it on the rod, and then, you know, it goes away. That's it.
That's it.
Go to the next one.
And then the beauty of our hangers is that when it's dry, especially if you're breaking plants down, if you're doing whole plants, you can't slide them off and put them in a tote because they're 4 feet tall. You got to break them down still. But if you have broken down branches, they slide off the hanger in literally 1 second. So, you know, the efficiency.
I've seen that when you grab the whole, call it a bunch.
A bunch. Yep.
And then you're putting into these cardboard boxes that have like a plastic liner.
Yeah, that's large scale.
Correct, large scale.
Yep,
like I said, you have something for every every level. That's, you know, outdoor, you know, maybe hemp or big facility, but I've seen that you also have stuff for indoor, more delicate stuff. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're very adaptable. You're very adaptable and I can see that you kind of have the same mindset as me. You go to somewhere, if you see something, because I think when you came to my place, have a little bit different system.
Yep.
But you say, you know what, you know, and I think you understand my system. But I says, you know what, I can do something like this.
Yep.
With my style, you know, and I see that you developed the hanging unistrut.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
That was dope. When I see that, I go, hey, that's fucking pretty cool.
Dude, somebody else is already, I mean, everybody was already doing the hanging strut.
Yes.
Like, they're already sliding those cages. Like, that was like that was an evolution from just a cage that would be on, like, PVC and you'd slide the cage back and forth or whatever.
That was the first dry room that I ever posted from Oregon. But no, after I got raided, I went to that spot over there.
Yep.
And I went to Washington. And I'm trying to think of the grow that I went to. Excitement. Man, it was in Washington. I seen these guys. They had. No, it wasn't him. Man, pressure excitement, super excitement, something like this. Yeah. But I seen that they had these trolleys.
Yep.
And they had this unistrut. And I said, you know what? Just kind of like, you know, when you have a mechanical mind, you say, this is cool, but you can make it better.
Make it better, right? You saw it, and you're just like, how do I do it?
So then I was in this grow in Oregon, and then I was the one that I did a long room. You know, I wanted to do this dry room in my mind, and then guy gave me. I was working for a guy at the time. He gave me the clear head, and then I did the metal, the hog
panels.
And then it was slim, so I put conduit on the side and stuff like that. And then when I posted that one, it seemed like it blew up. Yeah. Everybody started doing it, and some people say, yeah, give Mango credit. Some people do it super expensive with the unistrut all the way around it, and they would weld it, they would do cable, aircraft cable. And then I think you took it to adapted it to your system.
That's right. Yep.
To your system, you know, and then that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, it says, fuck, that's pretty cool. He came up with something to mimic this, and it's fucking dope.
Yeah, because a lot of people do that, and because they're already doing that, now we can go in and just retrofit. And what happens is, like, let's say they generally space those like 1 foot apart, two foot apart when they're full, right? So you get a 20-foot room, you've got like 10 to 15 cages. Well, because of the way our system adapts to it, the hangers go perpendicular, so that one cage that's like a foot wide, now it's 41 inches wide. So we're getting 4 times the canopy on the same cage. So now they fucking take 3 out of 4 cages out of the room because they won't fit once we turn the hanger perpendicular. So now when it's empty, there's less cages in the room. So it's, again, it's always like thinking, like, how do we consolidate? How do we shrink this? How do we have less material? How do we make this more functional so that, you know, easier, less space, more efficient?
Yeah,
like, that's really what it's all about.
Smaller space, exactly, yes.
It's all about that, you know.
When I saw your system that it hangs from the ceiling, and then you always say you put your sticker on the ground. Does that touch the ground, or is it just kind of floating there? Or
no, it touches the ground. So that's called the Quick Connect system.
Okay.
The Quick Connect system, we screw our ceiling mount to the ceiling. It's a hood.
Okay.
Okay, and then your post, it hooks to it.
Okay, I seen that.
And then it drops and rests on the floor. So there's no ceiling load.
Okay.
So all the weight is on the floor.
That's why that hook up top is kind of long. That cavity is kind of long. It's like about that long.
Because
it rests on the floor.
Yes.
And you don't want it to obviously can't push
hang.
up. I got you.
You don't want it to hang. It's got to go up and over and come back down, so it's not resting on the floor. It's not hanging. You don't want any ceiling load because again, you don't want to put 10,000 pounds on the ceiling.
Right.
The sticker goes on the floor wherever plumb level is.
To identify where the
so then you just hook it in, you drop it down. It's got a rubber plug on the base.
Okay.
As soon as you put any weight on it, it bites the floor. It doesn't go in. Like, you can't move it.
I got
It's like stuck there.
Okay. I was wondering
all the weight's
because
on the
in the
floor.
video you can't tell.
Yeah.
If it's like if it's like a pendulum kind of like,
no,
or if it's resting on it.
Yeah, it's resting on it. So
cool.
they rest in there. And the sweet thing about that system is it keeps there's not the only system better than that is a winch that literally comes up and down from the ceiling.
And I think I've seen that. You did that at Ideal Cannabis, I think, in Florida with Steve. Cannabis
Ideal,
I think.
Was that Ideal? I don't know if that was
Ideal or Tyler's Doghouse.
I think that's a Unistrut at Doghouse.
Okay.
I think that is.
Okay.
Pretty sure. The one with Steve we did, and I think that one was in Oklahoma. We've done several. We retrofit a lot of lift and grow.
Okay.
So guys that have lift and grow winches in that whole system.
Yeah.
Dude,
the strap.
They throw their they throw the hangers out that they bought from them,
okay.
and they implement our system because of the way it functions.
Okay.
The lift is still the same, but the way that we daisy chain our equipment off of that, it's so smooth, dude.
It's like butter.
It's like butter. Like it's sick. I'm just being honest, dude.
That's another saying that I like what you're saying with your videos.
Driflower.
What's up, guys? It's Mango here, and we're in the center of the Mango Tech showroom. When you say Trollmaster, you think controllers. When you say Thinker LED, you think lighting. I'm here to tell you that Trollmaster and Thinker are a whole cultivation system. Today, we're going to touch on ICL 300s and the Aero fans. There is no better combination in the market. ICL 300s are an inner canopy light that you set inside the canopy, and no, they're not 300 watts like some people may think. They're still 120 watts, but the 300 comes because they shine in 300 degrees. The ICL 150, that's up and coming here shortly, shines at 150 degrees because of its reverse V or A-frame style fixture. The 120 that's coming out is just like all the other regular ICLs or under canopy lights in the market. The ICL 300 and the ICL 150 are 4-spectrum tunable channel lights. That means you can play with each spectrum up and down to figure out what your strain likes best. All right, behind me, you see a single tier and a double tier. On the single tier, we have the ICL 300s on some PVC stands and some Thinker LED stands that bring the inner canopy light into the canopy, so the whole canopy gets lit up adaxially and abaxially, not just like an under canopy light, abaxially. All right, let's focus on the ICL 300 and the ICL 150. These are the Formula One, the Bugatti, the Ferrari of all inner canopy lights. Nothing comes even close to what these pair can do. Why? Because they're 4-channel spectrum tunable lights. You can tune your whites, your deep reds, your far reds, and your UV to a recipe that suits your plants. You guys remember at the beginning when I said that Trollmaster and Thinker LED are a cultivation system, not just a lighting and controller company. And this is exactly what I was talking about. The ICLs are now set on a Unistrut rail system that you'll never have to waste any time putting and taking off any stands. The rail will also double as a mount for your new Trollmaster Aero fans to deliver freshly climate-controlled, CO2-enriched air into your canopy. Nothing else comes close. Check it out. If you're interested in this system, hit the link below, www.mangotech.store. We got you. From A to Z, one-stop shop. Let's go.
But
like butter.
The Quick Connect system's awesome, but it's not ideal for 16, 20-foot ceilings. It works, but now you're on a scissor lift or ladders. The winch for tall ceilings is great, but the Quick Connect is great because you can have a huge room. You can set up 2 posts. You hook them to the ceiling, right? You hook the 2 posts up in the back of the room. You could drive a semi-truck in there, right to the rack. There's nothing in your way. Kind of like the Unistrut slider. You can slide one up. It's all by itself. You fill it, and then you can move another one in position. So it's kind of like that. You can fill the rack, and then you can work your way out of the room filling racks with nothing to get in your way while you're working. So like from a functional standpoint of while you're filling the room, dude, there's nothing there.
Hey Josh, this is where I'm gonna bust his chops because he didn't fill didn't fill the questionnaire. So we could be sharing. We could be sharing double screen all the stuff that we're talking about. If you would have filled the questionnaire and added all these little things, we could be talking about
I was trying, dude. I looked at bro.
But it's okay because you can still send it. Now you can still send us all that stuff because as we're talking about it, Josh can edit it and put it in there so people can see and view kind of what we're describing. Sure. I watch Instagram, obviously. You know, I'm on Instagram all the time, and I love watching your videos. You know, like I said, I'm a fan. Yeah. And then I got a construction mind, 3D mind, as I call it to my friends. But you know, it'd be nice to be able to show the viewers kind of what we're
we'll have to show them the quick connect. You back your way out, and then when all the weeds dry, you come in and you remove the first rack, all the hangers, and then it's gone. There's nothing there. And so you can just work your way into the room. It's so smooth. And no ceiling load.
Another thing that I like about that too is that, you know, like when you came to my place, you know, you came to my place, you know, you've seen how clean my place is, you know, our epoxy floors, the logos, everything. We want to keep it that way. And you kind of did that because I think we were discussing about posts, and I said, no, I don't want that. And then I think you kind of said, you know what, okay, this guy may be onto something, and then you design your thing so there's nothing on the floor. It's not a tripping hazard. It's smooth. Because that's what those things are. I hate to say it, but they're tripping hazards.
I agree.
But the way that you designed it, I find kudos to you.
Thank you, bro.
That's fucking pretty cool because it's smooth.
It's smooth. There's nothing there.
There's nothing there. There is no trip hazard.
It's a sticker.
Exactly. It's a sticker.
So
it's perfect. Yeah. So I'm definitely fucking stoked on.
We're 3 years in on this one, dude. I've been selling this one for about 3 years, and it's such a crowd pleaser. Like people just. It's just fun.
It's
like
efficient.
It's so efficient, man. Like efficient. You can clean everything. You can clean the whole room. Nothing in your way, dude. No, dude.
You don't have to go get the vacuum and freaking, you know, go inside that little
little cracks and little footer in the ground where it's got to drop in or something like that. Like none of that. You know, that doesn't work. I can't. I'm a stickler, man. I'm super OCD. Like it's got to be proper, you know, or I can't do it.
I know that we have a friend in common. You know, unfortunately, things didn't work out for him as it could have happened. No, not that guy. Darren from Grow Glide.
Oh man, my homie.
When you guys, because I remember that. I think I made that introduction by the way. Hold on, watch this. Carpal tunnel, man. This elbow's tired. Got a lot of carpal tunnel, a lot of introductions. But you know, I think I put you guys together. And you guys did it. That was pretty cool. You know, I think. Pip at that time, I think was, you know, which now they don't grow glide, but they had something in that kind of was doing like the same system, but your system was adaptable to slidable racks.
That's right. Yeah, Darren blessed me up. He took me to MJ and let me showcase some of our equipment on his.
Yes.
I think he saw the you know what it was, the potential. So he took me there. You know, that was great to get kind of under his wing. He hooked me up, and then later the next year, before we did the second year with him, we hooked up one of his spots in Oklahoma. And it was a great setup. It was a Grow Glide rack that we pulled this guy's nets down and all his shit down. And the night before the harvest, he was tripping. He's like, "Diff, it's not gonna fit. Fuck, it's not gonna fit. Damn it, it's not gonna fit." He was like, I wish I would have filmed all of it. It was the best reality moment.
Fuck, it fit.
It's not gonna work. So the first hanger he filled, we put 16 plants on it, and he's like, "Oh, shit. Okay, we only have to put 8 on here. We're good." It was just fit. Like it was money.
Okay.
But yeah, he really brought me under their wing, and we started doing a lot of business with Grow Glides, hooking up a lot of their customers with the system. And then, Pip took over, and at the time, Pip, you know, they were selling the VAS hanger, the vertical air system hanger.
Yes, which is kind of like what you said. I kind of remember James' thing. It was kind of the same hanger. It was kind of what you were saying earlier, the pan hanger that was open, you know, with the little ridges.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we work with them. I don't think they're one of our best.
I was just going to ask.
I was
just going to ask if you know, obviously they took over Grow Glide, and I was going to ask if the relationship then progressed now with Pip.
Yeah. Now we work with Pip. We serve them. We hook up Pip racks now, and we do a lot of business with their customers. We set them up with whatever they need.
Okay.
And we have a great relationship. Yeah. Pip's not wrong at all, man. They're good people. They're good people.
Awesome.
And so thanks to Darren for bringing me in. And you'd hook me up with him on that one. It's like, man, I feel blessed.
It's awesome.
One more step, you know.
That's what we do.
Moving closer, because it's hard in this game to market. You know, like when I was moving weed back in the day and nobody could get it, it was like you didn't have to sell it; it sold itself. And now it's like, how do you get to all these customers that don't even know you exist? It's really hard to get market exposure for cannabis products unless you're at trade shows, unless you're on IG. Like, how do you reach all these growers?
It's been tough with IG because IG all of a sudden started regulating us around 2020. I mean, it was good from 2014 to about 2020. It was like free for all. It was great. I mean, the accounts, you could see the accounts just getting, getting a foothold in the industry. It was like, you could see your account, going up, and all of a sudden it started banning people. All of a sudden, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
And you went through what I went through. I mean, I think you've had multiple.
Yeah, I've had multiple. That's why I've got a bunch now, because I kept getting taken down. I'm like, I need like 4 or 5 accounts. I'm posting the same thing on every page. Why is this one getting taken down? It's the same cut and paste on every page. Why is that one getting taken down? Doesn't even make sense.
The IP, because if that one gets called out by whatever, and then the algorithm remembers that phone number, that IP,
that's exactly right.
That email address, that phone number. It's crazy. I mean, I've been like 60 accounts, and it's sometimes, if you get that phone, there's been times, just weird, that I get it, that same phone, I open a new account, and then as soon as I put activate, it goes, your account's been suspended.
I know, dude.
It's like, dude, it's a half a second, dude. You cocksuckers. Really? It's crazy.
It's stored. It's like, it's all bots.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had 80,000 followers, 52,000 followers, 32, 22, 600, 5,600, everything in between that I think if I would have never got deleted.
Yeah, 500,000. Easy.
500,000 plus easy.
Because it keeps compounding.
Because, once it gets big, it just grows faster.
Yeah, it does.
I'd be somewhere between 500 and 1 million followers, and then now I'm down to, again, I think it's 2,000.
Dude, you know what? I've only on one of my pages will they allow me to advertise.
Really?
Only one. I don't know why. The other ones are all shadow banned.
Because shadow banned. There's so many subtractions, or they delete your post, then you can't go live for like 365 days, which I could care less about the lives, but then you can monetize, and that's kind of where it hurts your eye. Because the Mango Tech store page, we've gotten back, and we're trying to get it back so we can put a couple of
ads
posts.
Up, right?
Ads,
dude, the ads are key.
Because at least ads, they can't take it down. I mean, you pay for it, and they stay.
If you're up, if your page is up and you have that, but like sometimes when you get when they take so many posts down, they won't even let you advertise. Like they won't let you. You're like, oh, sorry, you're not allowed to advertise.
Yeah, no, you're a bad guy.
Like what the?
They're trying to give you guys money. It doesn't work.
I'm this one, Driflower hang harvesting systems. We've got like 20,000 followers right now. It's
sick.
Like, I mean that. Right. I mean, a lot of that was from ads. Probably I went from 10 to 20,000 on ads.
What somebody told me, this is the hack nowadays. Let you all know. This is the hack nowadays. So you you have a good page on Instagram, and then you have a Facebook page, and then you link them together.
Yep.
You link them together, and then you try to follow Facebook's rules. So then if they whack you on Instagram, you go to the Facebook guy, because it's Meta. Meta owns Instagram, and you say, hey, I didn't break the rules. As long as you didn't break the rules, at least you can now talk to a person.
Is there somebody to contate? You can talk to somebody? That's the most fucked up thing on Instagram. You're just like...
You can't contact nobody.
Dude.
Like you appeal, and you
wait.
You hope for the best.
You wait.
But with this new thing is that you can actually contact a Meta, especially if you pay for ads.
Yeah.
They want your money.
Yeah,
it's all about that money. You got to pay the money. But you can talk to the Meta supervisor or whatever, and then they restore your page.
Dude, I gotta keep that in mind. Hopefully I don't get taken down again, but
I'll be here for you tomorrow.
I don't put cannabis hashtags in anymore. I don't like anything. Like I just all
that's
that
what we
stuff.
used
Stay
to
away
do.
from
We used
stuff,
to do hydroponics.
Yep.
Cannabis, marijuana.
Yeah, I don't.
Weed.
None of that, dude.
Yeah, none of that.
I'll do like dry room.
People nowadays they don't even put weed in their caption.
Yeah.
They'll put W33D
or whatever.
Or
totally
or something.
like,
it's like we got to talk in hieroglyphics.
Man. It's like it's almost fully legal, dude. Globally, it's legalizing so fast all over the world. Like it's just happening so fast. The Oregon, California market is just tanked, but like globally,
it's growing.
Like it's just starting. Like so many countries have never had legal cannabis. So many people aren't aware of it, or it's not in their zone. It's not in their sphere of influence or their immediate reality. But those days are changing.
And it sucks. Like at some point it's going to change, and you're going to be like, "Fuck, man! I wish I had all the content that I've lost from back from Oroville when I was growing over there, and then Oregon when I was growing at that place. All that content, all those tips and tricks that I've posted over the years, gone.
Yeah, I know. We luckily have a master album that we keep all the the generated the videos we put together, edited. But I try to hold on to all my old footage of like grows. Like I've still got a couple photos of like my first grow 100 plant outdoor in Mendo, like full sun before it was like they used to call it full sun before because it was like a people hiding in the bushes, and then one day they're like, yeah, I'm doing them full sun, like full sun outdoor.
Yeah.
You know, for the full season, whatever. But I've still got nice photos of those. I've got some photos of my first greenhouse that I did, a little, 34 by 72, my first depot, these big fucking bomber plants and stuff. So it's nice to have that old footage.
So what's the latest thing that you're working on? Like if you could tell us, what's something that you're working on that you want to break out, if you can.
I've got a couple. I can't even say. I'm so close.
Okay, all right.
I'm so close. I got to file them first.
Okay, I got you.
But they're
talking about filing. I see that there's people out there that bootlegging your.
Oh shit.
Bootlegging. Dude. I think we were at MJ Biz. I don't know if it was last year or the year before.
That was 2, 3. Dude, funny story. You want to hear a funny story about that?
Yeah. Agrify.
Agrify. So we're at Agrify. Agrify knocks off the hanger. It's kind of a shitty knockoff, whatever. This is a true story. A year later, maybe 6 months later, we go to, I think it was Cannabis Business Times. I'm in Vegas at whatever the coffee shop is there on the north side. It's escaping me right now. They do like a great egg and cheese sandwich and like just like dank coffee, whatever. I'm sitting there with my crew, and some guy comes up to us with his family. It's him and his wife and like a 3 and a 5-year-old, and he's like, "Hey, you guys in the cannabis business?" I don't even know, we had the Driflower sweater on or something. "You guys in the cannabis business?" And I'm like, yeah, why? He goes, "Do you know a company called Agrify?" And I'm like, "Agrify? Fuck those guys. Those guys knocked me off. They stole my shit." I'm like, "Fuck that." He goes, No. I just was wondering. I'm actually a federal agent. We're investigating them. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Aren't even odds for it. Like, I don't even know how that happened. But yeah, those were the first guys to like knock us off. And they didn't even sell it because they didn't understand it, and they went out of business like the next year.
Yes.
So they fraud, whatever. Those
I remember we're looking at that shit. It was just too complicated, there's some things that, people say I overcomplicate things or too techy.
Those guys are...
That thing was fucking retarded.
Chad to the max is what they were. They were just like ultimate. I think it was an Asian company. They weren't even like growers. They didn't know anything about growing.
There was like little pods. There were like little pods that you could stack on top of each other.
All knockoff shit. And actually, I think there's a company in Vegas that has those pods that each pod closes and opens and all that. Like there's a facility that we hooked up that with a winch system that actually has those. They've got like 100 of those pods, dude. They're deathly expensive.
I don't think I've ever seen one of those things.
Oh yeah,
we've seen several.
Yeah, dude. We'll throw a video up of the system.
Dude, MJ Biz at the beginning years, I'm gonna say, like 20ish, 18, 19, 20ish. The shit that they were coming out with, especially in extraction.
Oh yeah.
Extraction equipment was
cutting edge.
It was just huge. It's like. There's no fucking way. You know how much product it's going to take to run that thing? To keep it operating?
I know.
The stainless steel vessels were as big as that fucking room over there.
I know. And they're finding the material to run it, too. Fools are making so much, dude. Good Mendocino and Humboldt.
Nuts.
But, yeah, those guys, we had another company knock us off and making China shit. And, I actually got quotes from Darren through Grow Glide for China. And pricing wasn't hardly any better than I get it in Oregon.
Really?
Believe it or not. It was like... Dude, hardly any better. I was like, wow, see?
Really?
So these other guys knocked us off. We went after them, and they, we work with them now. They're good people, I won't say. They're good people. They came around, but the hangers that they made fucking suck, dude. I repoed a bunch. I gave them to my partner. I'm like, here, you can use these. He's like, dude, we tried to use them. The necks all broke. They weren't usable.
They're thin.
They're thinner.
Because I've seen a few.
Yeah, they're super thin. So like, you get what you pay for. They don't work because they're not the right gauge. Like. Oh, here's an example. The Trim Pros. They're the fucking $1,500 for wet trimming. You pull all the fan leaves. So I think they're called Trim Pros, aren't they?
I believe so.
It's just like a little top. So they're like $1,500. Well, in 2016, my partner that I was working with that didn't know anything about cannabis was like, "Oh, I found these on Amazon. They're $175." He bought like 5 of them. So they show up. They look exactly the same. But you turn the fan on, you can you stick your finger right through, it just stops the fan. It didn't pull the leaf through. It didn't do shit. It like literally looked the same, didn't function.
Didn't function.
It had no torque.
Okay.
The fan had no torque. It wouldn't pull the leaf through. So you're paying $175. It doesn't even fucking work.
So you just fucking
so
wasted a bunch of money.
It's kind of the same thing. Like you get what you pay for, we make them for the same price here. I could make them that cheap too if I could make them that cheap right here if I want to.
Right.
But they don't stand up.
Durable,
they
they're going to bend, they're going to be flexy.
Last forever. Like they have to be forever. They can't be, you can't lose half of them in the year. But like, oh well, let's go buy some more. It's not like that.
Yeah, once it bends, it's aluminum or stainless.
We do both. Okay. Yeah, we do both. Everybody overseas gets stainless. Oh, we've only sold stainless to a handful of people in the States because they don't want to pay for it.
I got you.
And you don't have to. In overseas, it's got to be GMP. And so everybody has to have stainless hangers. The sticks we've only done one stainless steel stick deal. Everybody else stainless, just the hanger stainless. All the racks are aluminum. Everything's aluminum because it's not actually touching the flower. And even the hanger itself doesn't really touch the flower, just the stock does.
The branches. And what's the difference, if you don't mind me asking, between having the stainless and the aluminum? It's like different porosity or something, like at a micron level or something?
Well, it's medical and pharmaceutical. Like that's it. But like as far as like gauge, the aluminum is a little thicker, a little cheaper. Mm-hmm. The stainless is a little thinner on the blade. It's pretty tight. I really love the stainless stuff. The stainless is really, it's just not. I like it. Like the aluminum's nice too. The stainless is heavier. It's like it costs more to ship, right? It costs more to make. You're 50% more on a stainless hanger, so it adds up.
Wow.
Like it adds up.
Wow.
I suspect that when it's federally legal, everybody's gonna have to switch at one point.
One way or another.
Down the road, it's gonna be all GMP when the feds get involved. Everything's gonna be clean and sterile and like.
What's your thoughts on this? Because I know obviously. You're in both industries, cannabis, THC, and then the hemp. So you obviously cater to both.
Yep. Yeah.
What's your feelings on this brand new decision?
This bill that's coming out that's
because,
shutting it all down again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like everybody's shipping THCA out through UPS. Like everybody, there's driver picking up homie stuff every day.
The regular industry, the regular, THC industry are. Packing and wrapping and packing and sending this shit out to all the other states.
100%, dude.
With
doctor COAs, yeah. It's like it's.
As a licensed operator, I mean, I see all the people that are doing it. I've never taken that risk. I mean, I cherish my license. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I cherish my license, but I guess you know what? There's different people have different needs, and our weed sells itself. I'm pretty blessed that we're growing some fucking phenomenal weed right now, and there's the vault stays empty. But I guess if I had a full vault, I would have to figure out a way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of blessed, but I've never had to look into that way. But yeah, we keep our own product right here in California.
I think it's mostly trappers doing the THCA. It's not really like, it's a lot of, there is indoor also, but it's a lot of outdoor depots that are like the THCA. Mm-hmm. And guys that can't move it through the legal means. It's just brokers taking it and putting pretty package on it and doctor the COA and send it out.
Yeah.
They say. I don't know.
Do you think that's going to affect you? Because like I said, I know that like when I see your videos with these guys with these big, the stackable ones with the forklift.
Yep. I mean, dude, those are cannabis guys.
Okay.
Yeah, the forklift. I mean, those are like, the reality is the hemp guys struggle at the price point because the value of the flower's not there. If you're getting $150, $200 for like real hemp, not the THCA that's straight up depots that they're testing and all of a sudden it's good.
Right, sending out.
Real hemp that's like really hemp that does not get you stoned. That stuff's only fetching like $1.50 a pound, like not even $200 a pound. And so it's hard to pencil it because they're doing 10,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds a year. It's like when you're doing hemp outdoor, you're doing huge scale. It's more like commercial ag scale than like a recreational outdoor farm that's doing like maybe an acre or two, unless you're in Michigan and those guys are doing 20 and fucking 200 acres out there of cannabis. And those guys can actually afford it. I haven't landed any ProPod customers out there yet, but that's like, I'm not really sure why. It's these guys, like it's a lot of education. When a lot of people that before they use the system, they deduce what they do from what they see, and they don't grasp the ROI. When people use it, they over 50% come back and buy more. Like almost everybody, like in all of my customers, I'm like, well, how is it working? They're like, fuck, we love it. Best thing ever. So once you have a taste of it, kind of hard to go another direction, but a lot of people, anybody that's growing weed, they're already hanging weed. Anybody that grows weed, they're already hanging weed too. They already got it sorted out with their whatever they're doing. Yeah. It's not wrong. Yeah. But like, it's because they don't know what's possible. They don't.
They don't know,
man.
More efficient way to do it.
And again, and because there's so many nuances, when you get the system and you set it up and you start using it, dude, there's so many, hero stories from this. Dude, I had a guy set up 8 shipping containers with sticks and hangers. So we built them out. You'd bring the stick and you'd hang it up. He called me the day of harvest. They filled up the first container. They were setting up the second container, and the fucking motor crapped out on the freezer container. 40-footer, freezer went out. If he had net in there, and he would have had to unhang all that shit and take it, he's like, it was already like 8 hours in to being hung.
Super limp.
It was limp and done and over. He's like, it took a shit. We took 2 guys. They unloaded the container. It took about a half an hour to take all the sticks, put them in the other container, and we saved the entire crop, 200 pounds. That paid for the all containers we bought.
So you're talking about fresh frozen?
No. They were just freezer containers they were using to hang weed.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. So just, repurposed freezer containers instead of just a standard shipping container.
Correct. So it has the insulation to protect.
Had the insulation, had the AC running, and like, dude, it was, so just that story alone. I had another guy that would hung a shipping container, another shipping container kit, hung it, and neighbor ratted him out. He had fucking cops were on their way. Did he just pull the hangers, carried him across to the house next door? In a half an hour, had the container empty.
How many pounds of weed can you hang in a 20-foot in a 40-foot container?
40-footer, if you want to stuff it and work your way out, about 240 dry pounds.
240 dry pounds.
If you want to walk way down the center, about 180 pounds.
Okay.
That's dried, buck trimmed in the bag.
So I'm assuming half of that for a 20-footer.
Yep. Yeah, 20-footer's going to be 90 pounds or 120.
Okay, 90 pounds or 120.
And it's pretty consistent. Like, some guys can get more, not many.
Okay.
But that's assuming, the metric on each hanger. So as soon as you fill a hanger and you weigh it, you know what the next, 80 are going to look like. Okay, especially if you're doing indoor. Like a lot of guys doing indoor, most people growing indoor hang whole plants.
Right.
They don't break plants down.
No.
And that's because they want to flip the room fast. Right. Largely because they want to flip the room fast. And so, it's cut and hang whole plants, get them out, and then empty the room, clean it, and reset it.
Plus, there's another thing that I think that is, less touch points. I believe that if you hang the whole plant, a lot of those leaves, I see a lot of people get a plant, put it in the hallway, and take all the big leaves off, or break it down. You know what?
It's a lot of work.
If you hang the fucking plant, the leaves are going to fall naturally.
They do.
Because they dry, and the stemming, and then as you're kind of handling
Yep.
We spear now. As you're breaking that down, they kind of falling off. You don't have to actually take the time to go, bam. They just fall naturally.
I think that's more prevalent with people that turn stuff into fresh frozen, or like the smaller buds into fresh frozen, because they don't want that leaf mixed in. Right. So they'd spend that little extra time to try to get that off before it gets washed, just to make it a little cleaner. I think, I don't know.
Yeah, but like for fresh frozen, I can understand it, but I just see people sometimes there's even people that break it down even more into little branches. They even branches. And they dry it.
I'm not angry at that, because if you break it down on the front end, it takes a little longer, but on the tail end, again, slides off into a tote. Now you can just clean it. It's ready to pick up and buck. Mm-hmm. A 4-foot plant, it's not ready to buck. You at least have to break that plant down. Somebody can't take a 4-footer and start bucking. It's a shit show. It's like it's too gangly, But like a little spear, that's easy to buck by hand. Yeah.
I gotcha.
I don't know. Again, outdoor guys, you can't hang a 5-pound wet, 10, 15 wet pound plant. No, it's not happening. You can't. So and it doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to cut branches. Like the outdoor technique, especially large scale, is like cut branches into totes, carry the tote 10, 20, 30 feet away to a rack, hang it right there.
Okay.
And then once it's done, now you can figure out getting the rack to the dry room. But it's always broken down branches in the field because nobody's hanging. Outdoor plants are too big, dude. It just doesn't make sense.
A tree.
So it almost always, indoor guys, almost always whole plants. Probably 75% of the time whole plants.
I guess that makes sense.
Which makes it easy because now when they've got, 1,000 plants and they're putting, 4 plants a hanger, 250 hangers, every hanger guy puts 4 plants on, just nothing to think about. Mm-hmm. It's super consistent. And that's what I find is that when people hang whole plants, it's always the same. They put 4 plants, 6 plants, 8 plants, so that when their crew gets to it, there's really, it cuts down on the thinking. You know, they can't fuck up.
Yes.
Because it's like, don't put 4 plants on the hanger.
That's the SOP.
These hangers go in there. It makes it's smooth. You know, it makes it more enjoyable when you're harvesting with it. Like truly, it's a much more enjoyable process because it's known, it's consistent, it's standardized, and it's just, you know, fucking. There's nothing worse than pulling shit out of a net.
It's like butter.
You already know.
He says that a lot. That's why I've said all the time.
It's like butter, man.
He looks at the camera and goes, it's like butter.
You know, I've got a whole testimonial album of just guys texting me, bro, we just used the system. Better than we thought. Like I have a whole album full of those, man. I just love those screenshots because it's like, yes.
So tell the viewers if they're interested, not any viewers that seen this podcast and they didn't know about Jay or Driflower drying systems, tell them how they can contact you. Instagram or
Instagram at Driflower or the website at driflower.com. And usually we just start with a short consultation. You know, people call up or reach out and they say, hey, I see this hangers. What do you got? We do a 5-minute chat. After the 5-minute chat, we determine how much they're knocking down, what their SOPs are, what the size of their dry rooms are, what systems we offer, and then from there we'll do a 3D CAD render and a quote for free, and they can just chew on it. And again, I would say, on average, it's 50 to 70%. That's no bullshit. 50 to 70% or more labor savings every time you knock down. So, we were just out filming in Michigan, this crew, they knocked down 200 pounds a week, every week. They used to do 10 guys in 2 days.
High Tech?
No, I saw High Tech too. He loves it too. I got a video with High Tech, dude. He loves it. It's great.
Chocolate. Yeah.
Chocolate loves it, dude. They went from like 8 guys in like 6 days, like 3 guys in a half a day. Like that's
the one that I saw.
They're so fast.
Yeah.
Peninsula Gardens, they're knocking down. It was 10 guys 2 days. Now they're 8 guys 4 hours.
Sick.
So they went from 10 guys at whatever that is, 80 hours times 2 days. Was that 160 hours? Down to 8 guys in 4 hours to 32 hours. They went to 160 man hours to 32 hours every week.
Huge.
They're saving $1,500 a week.
Huge.
Fucking $6,000 a month, dude. They paid for their system in like 3 months.
Perfect.
Less than that, 2 months. Now they use it forever, and they're making money. And so, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm already drying it, but they don't like it's.
They don't understand.
They don't understand
labor.
like the labor.
Labor.
It's just So this year at MJ, I've really kind of got my diagrams. I've got my, my tools better to explain a lot of testimonials, a lot of like hard data. That's like, listen, here's the results from like 30 people that are knocking down just like you are. Here's how much they were doing. Here's how much they're doing now. This is the cost. It's like dude. You can get funding on this. It pays for itself. You can get funding from Fund Canada.
After 3 months, 2 months, 4 months, you're making.
Yes, you're making money.
Okay.
Making money. So.
Do you work with finance companies? I think you were going to say that.
Fund Canada.
Okay.
We work with Fund Canada. So, they do the terms and you make payments and like the money you're saving makes the payment.
So,
like,
guys,
dude,
even if you have a system and it's not working properly or you think there's improvement, hit up Jay because he'll do the math for you.
Yep.
And he's even got financing for you guys.
That's right.
Third-party financing.
That's right.
Just like he says, it pays for itself after 3-4 harvests. You're making money.
You're making money. It's a no-brainer. A little taste,
And at this day and age, the way the prices of packs are.
Yeah.
Every dollar counts.
Yep. I think the THCA ban might bring prices back up a little bit.
I hope so.
The sketchier it is, the more it's worth. So that's the reality.
That's kind of my thinking.
I hope so. I want growers to have money in their pocket because they got more money.
This became a regular job.
I know it did.
And a lot of people quit, but if you have passion for this industry and you like what you're doing, you're going to hang out.
You're going to keep going. I know because if you like the flower, if you're just in it for the money, it's not where it's at. You gotta enjoy the weed. You gotta enjoy growing it. You gotta be into it. It's a lifestyle.
Yep, I agree.
Growing's a lifestyle, man. This whole the hustle, it's a lifestyle.
I agree. People say, man, growing weed is hard. No, it's not. I work construction. It's not fucking hard. It's just nonstop. It's monotonous. It's 7 days a week.
It's
24 hours a day. It's like a hospital. It is.
There's always a fire to put out. That's all. There's always
there's
always something you have to overcome.
Yep.
And so that's really it in a nutshell, man. You're always putting out fires as a grower. This is one less fire you're going to put out because we're going to streamline that shit. That's right.
We're firemen. Awesome.
That's right, making the fire.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Jay at Driflower episode. I think it was a freaking killer story. Anybody that I've known Jay for quite a while now,
years,
and I learned new shit. You know, like I said, I get down to the nitty gritty, find out I never knew a lot of the stuff that he said at the beginning, and it's pretty cool to learn. You know, the evolution of how they you know, he went from, like I said, what did you get, an army
brat.
Brat.
Yep.
And with a strict upbringing, and then he did his thing. He hustled weed. Was on the run for 10 years, and now he's a well-known brand in the cannabis industry, and he's here to stay.
That's right.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you to the sponsors: TrowMaster, Future of Intelligent Farming, Think LED, best LEDs in the game, Mango Juice. If you're not juicing, you're losing. Lastly, Mango Tech Store. Look at this beautiful space to be able to have these podcasts. Hope you guys learned something. Once again, if you want to contact Driflower, get a hold of Jay. Instagram, tell him, Jay, right there.
Driflower.com or Instagram at Driflower. Hit me up. Let's get you set up proper.
Let's go. Let's do it.
That was tight, dude. That was tight.
That was a fucking cool story, dude. Fuck. Dude, 10 fucking years on the run, and one day says, fuck, I'm so tired. I'm just going to turn myself in.